be enabled by your powerful protection to discharge their duties with honesty and ability. We pray to you, who are Lord and God, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Please stand for a pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Bast.
Here.
Mope.
Here.
Mundy.
Here.
Shatter. Perry.
Here. Approval of minutes of previous meeting, December 5th, 2013, December 19th, 2013. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Prior to the swearing in of the newly elected officials, would anyone like to make a few remarks? I have a few things I'd just like to say. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Well, this is not comment time, is it? This is not the comment time for the audience. This will happen.
This will happen later. Before
Later.
our meeting. Yeah. This is,
Okay.
You can
Thank
do,
you.
We'll have it later.
Sorry about that. Okay, just a few things. My goal 4 years ago as council member, and still is today, is to represent the best interests of all the citizens of a very diverse Hazleton and not political self-motivation and power, and to improve the finances and the services the city provides to its residents. We may be the only city in Pennsylvania for now that has reduced city taxes by paying down our debt for now and in the future. I leave here today with my head held high, that I never missed a meeting in 4 years. I've represented the city in a dignified and professional manner, something that at times was lacking on council. I had a conversation with Senator John Yadicek over the holidays and asked him why he can work with Senator Representative Tara Tuhill and Congressman Lou Barletta, regardless of political affiliation, and city council cannot. We came to the conclusion that it should be about helping people and not personal political vendettas. I care about my city because, like you, I live here. I'm involved with many groups and organizations. It's easy to point fingers and degrade workers and blame others for our problems, but the answers lie in what are you willing to do to improve our community, and that means getting involved. I know I will continue to do that. I want to thank all the dedicated city workers and administrators, especially Lisa, for all your support and all you've helped me with. And thank you, and God bless. Okay. Anyone else? This day being fixed by the Act of Assembly for inauguration of newly elected and re-elected city council officials. Mr. Jeff Cassat, please come forward and present your certificate of election to Magistrate James Dixon, who will then proceed to administer the oath of office. This day being fixed by the Act of Assembly for inauguration of newly elected and re-elected city council officials, will Dr. Dave Sosar and Mr. Jack Mundy please come forward and present your certificates of election to Judge Corey Stevens, who will then proceed to administer the oath of office.
Now, just raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I
The newly elected officials will now take their seats.
Roll call. Bast.
Here.
Cassat.
Here.
Mope.
Here.
Mundy.
Here.
Sosar.
Here.
Remarks of newly elected council member Jeff Cassat.
I just want to thank the citizens of Hazleton for voting for me to represent them for the next 4 years, and that I'll do my best to support and help the city as best I can. Thanks.
Remarks of newly elected council member David Sosar.
Thank you. I've never been known as being short-winded, and being a teacher of Jeff, he knows I'm going to probably say a little bit more than what he just did. First of all, distinguished guests, members of council and city government, citizens of Hazleton, and family. First of all, I want to thank all of you for being here. It means a lot to me, and it means a lot as far as your confidence in providing me the votes that you did to put me in this position. And I promise you that I will not let you down. I want to thank two people in particular who can't be here today. My mother and my father at 96 and at 95. Unfortunately, they're not able to make situations like this, but they're here in spirit. And I'm going to give a shout out to my father right now because he'll turn 97 tomorrow. And that's very special. Thank you. And he's doing well. He's doing well, as both are. To my wife and to my sons and my daughter-in-laws, my future daughter-in-laws, I want to thank their support and their ability to put up with me. And most importantly, as I said before, the voters in Hazleton, I will not let you down. You may not always agree with what I have to say or what I do, but I can tell you one thing: I will be as open and explain what I have to say and do what I have to do as possible. And I think that you should expect no less from me and no less than from anybody else in the city at this point. Creating or solving these problems isn't going to take overnight. You and I both know that we have created situations and we have problems in this city that have been long-standing and developed over a long period of time. And I promise you that we will work on them. But to expect that you and I will unfortunately be able to put them to bed overnight is not going to happen. But one thing that we will, I believe this council, this whole council, will earn from you is your trust. I read a lot of government. As you know, I teach it, and one of the things that is most important to me, it isn't sometimes what laws we pass, what ordinances we do, it's the trust of being able to carry them out and being able to be open with people that is the most important thing. And council will not be a rubber stamp. Council is not just going to do things. Council is going to ask questions. Council is going to get to the bottom of things, and council is going to do the best that they can in every way possible. And I give you my faithful promise that that will be it. The catchphrase, unfortunately, up until now in this city has been family and friends. Everybody from last time, this time, everybody likes to talk, and I've read it too many times in the city government about family and friends. there are going to be appointments made. There are going to be decisions made. And I will tell you right now that I will appoint people that I trust, people that I expect that will do the best for this city. And if people want to point fingers and say that's family and friends, then so be it. I'm not here to pull any punches. I'm here to talk straight, and I'm talking straight to you right now. We need to pull all our resources together, whether it be through the mayor's office, whether it be through the administrator's office, whether it be through this city council, and all of you in the audience. There are a lot of good ideas. It doesn't come from 5 people. I received a message last night from a friend that I saw at church yesterday about new programs that are state programs that maybe we should be looking at. And I'm going to be happy to share them with you, Mr. Hahn, right after this meeting. Maybe ways that we can get some money to help fix some of the things that are going on in this city. We need to do that. We need to be as creative, and we need to look outside the model and the paradigm that has existed in this city. We need to do different things. We cannot live with the same old paradigm. It doesn't work. We're finding ourselves deeper and deeper in debt. I ask for your prayers in all of this. I ask for your wishes in this, and I ask for your ideas in this. And my wife has a tendency to say, you know what? He gets on a soapbox, and now he's going to give a quiz. I promise I will not give a quiz. And I'm done. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for listening to me. And again, I will not let you down. To the best of my ability, I'm going to work for the people of this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sosar. That was, I'll try and be briefer than you. I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank my family and my friends who supported me in the election. I ran with Dr. Sosar, and I think I couldn't have a better running mate. It was the first time I ever ran with a running mate. I've been asked many years to run with people, but you know, I knew he was the right person. I know he cares about the city, and he's going to do what's right. You know, first off, I would like to thank my family for helping me in the election, and some of my friends, Richard, Scott, Teddy Sherrock, Grace, Laurie. And I had a lot of help to get here. It's not easy, especially 4 times. Usually after 2 times, people are sick of you. It's rarely do you get a 3rd or even a 4th term. Usually two terms, people are fed up with you. It's rare to get a 3rd and 4th. The last person that had 4 terms was Jim Ferry. He was 4 years on council in Hazleton, and so I tied that record. I hope I don't have to break that record. But if it comes to that, it'll come to that. The other thing I want to thank is Jim Perry and Kevin Shatter. You know, we didn't always agree on things, but that's part of democracy. That's what makes our country great, is where in a government you could disagree. And a lot of times they had ideas that I thought were good ideas, and they had ideas I thought weren't good ideas. It was the same when Lou Barletta was the mayor. Some of his ideas were great. Some of them I disagreed with, and I spoke out. And I'll speak out anytime somebody has a good idea, and if you have a bad idea, I'm going to tell you. And I'm not going to say just because you're my friend, I'm not going to say it's a bad idea or a good idea. But I know this council cares about the city. We're going to work together. We're going to be open, transparent. We're going to have everything on the internet, on our website. We're going to have contracts. We're going to have everything. I believe the Open Records Act is anything the government creates is a record that you have a right to see. And that's what the Open Records Act says. Anything government creates, you have a right to see. We're going to put contracts. We're going to put a lot of things on the internet that you haven't seen before. We're going to have a place on the website where people could complain about things if they can't come to City Hall. And it'll be posted on that website. So we're going to make a lot of changes, and I'm sure with the help of everyone in the community and everyone on council, we're going to make Hazleton a better place. And we're going to work hard for that, and we're going to work hard to earn your trust. And I know we can do it. Thank you.
At this time, the new City Council will select a president and vice president for the year 2014.
I'd like to present Jack Monday as council president.
I'll second that. Hearing no others, I'd like to ask that the nominations for president be closed as well.
Anyone else? Roll call. Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Mundy,
Yes.
Sosar.
Yes.
Lisa, you're going to do the next resolution?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Resolution 2014-2, appointment of Vice President of Council.
I'd like to nominate at this point Jean Mope as vice president.
Second.
Hearing no others, I'd like to move, if I could, that we close the nominations.
Anyone else? Roll call. Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Mundy,
Yes.
Sosar.
Yes.
I just have a question before we move on. It doesn't have any point for public comment on the rest of the agenda.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that now.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna have public comment now because it's not on the agenda. Anyone like to comment on anything on the agenda? Okay, go ahead.
Craig Buddy Hazleton. I commend your speeches about working together and bringing everything out to the public, but I got a little problem with that is you have a resolution 2014-3, confirmation of council legal advisor. Who?
Isn't it on yours?
No, it's not. Same thing with Resolution 2014-6, 2014-7, 2014-8. Appointment of Water Authority, Sewer Authority, Health Services. There's no name put up on there. We don't know anything about these people, what their qualifications are. It's left blank.
Yeah, because they haven't been decided yet, and some people could nominate who would they like to nominate. So it's a little more of an open process that we do it now. And as far as those appointments as solicitor, they'll be named, and you could question them afterwards, or you could make a comment at the end of the meeting if you'd
At
like
the end of the
to
meeting
comment.
after they're
Yeah.
appointed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, the legal advisor's in there. The
didn't see-
names are in the resolution, Frank.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, it's on there,
2014-3.
on the resolution.
Lisa, did you have that available for the public? Does anybody else in the public
Yes,
have it
I
on
have it.
theirs? Grace has hers. Who else? Teddy, do you have it on yours?
It's on the actual resolution, Frank.
2014-3.
Yeah, it's not on the cover sheet, but it's on the resolution.
And see, all the other ones are left blank until the decision of council.
Well, I don't have that resolution here.
Or maybe you're just missing
Maybe you
it.
missed the page, Lisa, when you were
That's
putting it
possible.
Yeah,
together.
it's not on here.
You want to give it to Dave?
Yeah,
Here.
yeah.
Here, you just give her just give him the resolution. Here, I'll give him mine.
Sometimes mistakes occur with everything. Can't be helped. It's not Lisa's fault.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, now that we got that. Resolution 2014-9, agreement between the lease purchase, okay? I feel the council should approve that, okay? It's needed, it'll help bring businesses and money to the city of Hazleton. Same thing with Resolution 2014-10, okay? Approving the agreement for the city of Hazleton and Levi Halley Hospital, okay? I think that should be approved, okay? It's gonna bring the hospital more workers, okay? It'll bring more money to the city, okay? It's gonna be good for this city. I know there's certain people in Hazleton that feels we should get rid of the hospital. That would, not the hospital, I'm sorry, the airport, but that would be a mistake. Okay, a big mistake. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
D. Deacus Hazleton. This is concerning Resolution 2014-9. I notice here we have a lease purchase agreement. What happens is, since we're talking about putting money out, we have a budget that doesn't have that in there. It'll probably exceed your 5%. So now we have a resolution in there that will have you do something illegal in going beyond expenses. You should table it, have the proper funds being put into the budget for it, and then at that point,
We're going to be amending
re-entertain.
the budget. We'll be amending the budget.
I
so-
know, but you're going to be spending more than
Yeah.
you're expecting to.
I know.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Mark Rabo, First Street, Hazleton. First, I'd like to welcome the new council members and the re-elected ones, and I hope that this new council will be productive and work with the people. And I would like to say something about, as everybody knows about the airport, I think it's a fiscal albatross on this city. It has, the city has to match whatever grants it takes out for that airport. And the money you could use, the money that's been used for that airport could have been used for the police, could have been used for the streets, but it's not. Okay, it's used to placate and pander to a few privileged people down in the valley or up in the heights just for their personal playground, and I feel strongly that it should be opposed to, and actually it should be sold to a private business, and then the city could tax it as a government should. This is, like I've been saying for a few times, that the airport is just nothing more than a socialist enterprise. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. First, I'd like to congratulate all council and wish you all the best. In regards to Resolution 2014-10, I stand here today and ask you to wholly support that resolution in adding these 2 medical helicopters to our airport. I think we know the value of care, safety, and most importantly, the help of our citizens. I don't think anyone has to know how many times a helicopter comes in and out of Hazel in general on a daily basis. And I think with the option to now have 2 medical helicopters at our airport is just a great and tremendous benefit to our emergency services in this area. So I wholeheartedly ask you to support that resolution to place those 2 life-saving tools for all of our emergency services in the greater Hazleton area at that airport. Thank you.
Thanks.
Members of Council, my name is Thomas Hall. I'm the Deputy Commander of the Civil Air Patrol, Squadron 203, based at Hazleton. I'd also like to support the resolution with the basing of the 2 helicopters at the airport. For those of you who are not aware, the Civil Air Patrol has been in existence for 72 years. There's over 60,000 of us who volunteer throughout the nation. We serve a variety of public service enterprises. For example, during the floods we had with Irene and Lee, we flew hundreds of hours of photo reconnaissance missions for FEMA. We airlifted personnel and equipment in that. Hurricane Sandy, we did the same. We had the unfortunate problem of 2 downed aircraft this year. We've mounted search and rescue operations for those. In addition to my job as as Deputy Commander of the Squadron, I'm Director of Operations for our region. which goes from Doylestown to the New York border. In that capacity, we are required to have trained people, Air Force supplied equipment, ready to operate on a search and rescue basis throughout this region. Having helicopters available in the event that we do find downed aircraft, lost people, injured people, for an airlift capacity would be a terrific asset. And I commend the council for thinking about having this brought to the area. As far as the airport itself, it's a tremendous regional resource. We depend on having adequate, located and highly effective airports in order to do our job. And Hazleton has an excellent location. It's a great airport to operate out of, and we're able to do our training and our other aviation-related opportunities out of the airport. And we commend the city of Hazleton for maintaining such an excellent facility. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, but I do support the establishment of the helicopters here. I have to put a disclaimer, that's not official CAP doctrine. It's based on my years of experience working in this area. And thank you for considering.
I have one question, Tom. Does
Sure.
that help you, having those helicopters there? How does it help to?
Here's what we do. We will be contacted by the emergency management officials of the counties in which we're operating. There's a lost person, there's a downed aircraft, there's something that for which our airlift capability is useful. We're able to identify from the air, okay, here's the problem, here's the location. Then you have to get people to it. We traditionally have had ground-based operations where you get people to the ground and you then move in there. We have frequently gotten to the position where we need to get airlift capacity to get people up. The closer we have airlift capacity, the better off we are. And
You'll be able to utilize those helicopters in your operations.
What happens is that the emergency management official will say, okay, we've now identified the location of the accident, the lost person, whatever it is. They'll go through their dispatch procedures and get somebody there to airlift the individual or the people out of the environment. It's just a matter of logistics. If you have a
right
facility
there, yeah.
closer, you get them out faster.
Yeah.
And in this business, speed is essential.
I'd like to say something too. I'd like to have a more open dialogue between your service and the city council, so please feel free to keep us abreast of what's going on and have open communication with us. Our emails or with Lisa, you can contact us at any time, and we'd like to be on a working basis with you.
Thank you very much. We would be very happy to do that. I'm delighted that we had the opportunity to come by today and talk to you, and we're available anytime.
Thank you.
And thank you.
We're delighted you came.
Right.
Hello, good morning. Chris Puzo at Hazleton. I did want to first thank the incoming council members, Jack, Jeff, and Dave. I wish you guys well. And Jack, that's a good feat you met there. So a lot of years of service. And I would also be a dishonor not to thank Jim Perry for everything that he's done on council. So I served with a few of you folks on council, and I not only consider you colleagues, but friends. I just want to refer to Resolution 2014-3, the confirmation of council legal advisor. Just a couple quick questions and some things to consider as you're discussing this and voting on this resolution today. Was there a formal proposal presented to council on exactly how much this is going to cost the taxpayers and what the fees are going to be? And is it in the current budget?
We're going to find money in the budget to pay for that. We're going to make some cuts in certain areas, and it's not going to increase our budget. We'll be cutting some things, so it will not be an increase to the taxpayers. Also, it's been done before. It's in the code where you're allowed a legal advisor for council, and it's been done in the past before I was on council.
Okay.
And we've even had When I first got on council, we did have a legal counsel to do legal work for us that the solicitor didn't handle.
Okay. Because I know we have a solicitor, and having served on council, there were many times I referred to Attorney Slusser, and he was always great in getting back. I may not have always liked the answer, but it was the legal and the correct answer. And I just hope we're getting someone that is going to give us the correct answers, and I'm just not sure. It seems like we're just doing this for second opinions.
No, I'm not doing it for second opinions. That's whatever you read in the paper, that's someone else's opinion. I'm doing it because we've had no counsel at the majority of meetings. Chris has had a handful of meetings, and we need legal counsel, and I don't think it's right that we should sit here at risk to ourselves that we could do something wrong and not have legal counsel. So part of the reason is us having legal counsel is we're going to have somebody here. We're not going to be at the whim of the mayor or the whim of the solicitor when he wants to show up. We're going to have a solicitor here when we need one, and we need one. And it's stupid not to have one.
And I'm definitely not disagreeing with you, Jack, and I appreciate your feedback with that. But I guess what I'm asking as a whole from council, you know, this is something that we put on the agenda. New council members coming on board. And this is definitely not a knock against any law office that you're referring to be the legal advisor, but we have no formal proposal in front of us. As a taxpayer, I look at it as we have a solicitor, we have someone in place. Has council as a whole gone to Attorney Slusser?
We have a solicitor who did not attend meetings, attended a handful of meetings. Right. So we didn't have a solicitor.
Right.
At the meetings, we did not have a solicitor, period.
Mm-hmm. This may help you out. We had a solicitor, Joseph Waco, as one of them. We've had multiple.
Mm-hmm.
And he served at the pleasure and the benefit of Jim Perry and of the mayor, and while mayor was on council, and of you. Your name is on the list. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you had a solicitor.
Right, but
Knew it or not. Whether you utilized them or not was up to you, but you had a solicitor.
But when we look at it now, I'm just looking at the fact that, you know, we have some budget gaps. And we did make the cut yet in the budget to put this in place. All I'm asking, do we have a formal proposal? Because I don't see anything here.
We will make our decisions when we present the budget for amendment, okay? And then you can see what's going on.
Okay. I guess my biggest question was just to consider so the taxpayers aren't hit with some fees. Because I just look at it as our first order of business. We know there's some budget gaps to be placed. I'm sure the administration's working on it. I know council has a lot of fresh ideas that hopefully will come to fruition and help the taxpayers. But I guess the biggest thing and the biggest concern is what's it going to cost the taxpayers? I'm just a little surprised that our first order of business is something that's going to cost the taxpayers money.
Wait. I said it's not going to cost the tax. We're going to make cuts that the budget's going to be balanced, so it will not cost the taxpayers any more money. So whoever gave you that idea, that's wrong.
But if we made the cuts, that could actually save us money.
And it's going to be the same. We're not going to increase. We're not going to have an increase in that budget because of the solicitor.
But I just thought by making cuts, we could have maybe further tax decreases like we've had this year.
Well, okay. We'll get to that tax increase.
I mean, all I'm just asking is if you could consider the financial implications and at least have a formal proposal in place of litigation before we move forward. Just something to consider as we move forward. But thanks again, guys.
Any more questions? Any more comments? Go ahead.
Grace Kuzo, Hazleton. Number one, congratulations on all of your wins, and I hope to see a big change here in city government. This is on Resolution 2014-10. Now, I can speak as someone who's actually used the helicopter for a medical emergency, and I do understand how important time is. You know, you can park at the airport. They could park the helicopter. And why is the city of Hazleton being used as the go-between to purchase it? Let them purchase it. We need to fix the streets. We need to buy equipment for the highway, the fire, the police. Why are you buying another, or even why would you consider? Let the company, you know, you want to talk friendships here and deals in here. Do you know who the owner is? Our former mayor's girlfriend's boyfriend. Now, if that's not a deal, I don't know what is.
Hold it there. That's wrong.
No, okay, that's wrong.
What'd you say?
That's not Sherry's.
His girlfriend.
Her boyfriend.
She said girlfriend.
Well, excuse me.
The mayor's girlfriend.
The mayor's
The
girlfriend.
former mayor.
Girlfriend.
Former mayor.
It's not
Girlfriend.
his girlfriend.
It's not his girlfriend.
Excuse me. Boyfriend.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
I think you ought to look at having the company itself lease it with the option to purchase.
Okay. We've discussed it in executive
And this
session.
is really something that needs to be looked at before you jump in
I know.
head first. Where are you getting the money for the other hangar? Do you know where that's coming from? Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Grace. Yeah, you could speak again. Hey, you could. I'm not. The 3 minutes. That's okay. You go over 3 minutes. It's fine with me. I'm not going to be looking at watches.
Stop me because I can go over.
Well, you could. If you have something to say.
It's concerning this council legal advisor, and I understand what you're saying. You're going to cut something in the budget to make the money for him. But if you're willing to do that, why can't you cut something in the budget instead of paying another solicitor or a legal advisor, whatever you want to call him, all right, to fix what's wrong with the city? Use that money.
Well, we'll
Okay.
think
To me,
about
that's
that,
a waste of money. Then.
Well.
Okay.
You're not up here putting yourself at risk without an attorney. We are.
You have an attorney right there.
Never been at the meetings. You've been at the meetings. How many meetings did he come to? You tell me. How many?
You know what, Jack?
How many
Because every
meetings?
time he comes, you turn around and say, you don't answer questions. The man is available. Every other council member can call him,
I know
email
he's
him,
available.
and get the
I know he's
questions
available,
answered.
but he's not here.
Listen to me. There's three
Not here.
Well, he doesn't need to be there at every
Okay.
council meeting.
Okay,
Let me finish speaking.
Go ahead.
Okay? He doesn't need to be at every council meeting and billing the city.
Well, that's what you think. That's your
Okay?
opinion.
And your opinion is you just
Yeah,
want to waste
and
money.
mine,
Okay?
You think it's a waste of money. That's your
It is
opinion.
a waste of money.
He needs to
Okay?
be here
And as
for
a
the
taxpayer,
public.
yeah, my
Okay.
opinion should matter.
Okay. What else you have?
Okay?
What
These
else you
three-
got? What else do you got?
I'm trying to, but she won't let me speak.
Okay. Go ahead.
You'll have your turn after I'm speaking.
I will.
Okay.
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
Okay? All these authority boards you got going, 3 of them, you need appointments on. You requested, somebody. Why don't you reach out to the Hispanic community? Put an Hispanic member, okay, on one of these boards.
We do have Hispanic members on boards. Norca is on the zoning. We have a Hispanic
Which he
members.
appointed to. Okay? He put the name on.
Put on it.
These are...
We voted for that.
Jack, listen to me.
We voted for that.
Jack, listen to me. Okay? These are names you're putting on there, not from the mayor, from the council.
They are come from
Okay? You ran telling the Hispanic community that you were for them and you were going to help them. Show it. Prove it to me.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, with regards to the solicitor, I go to meetings. I see him like maybe on 3 or 4 occasions here, and some of the times that he's not here. And I go up to the county council meetings, and I have never seen a solicitor not there. If Mr. Pedri's not there, somebody at his office is there.
We're the only city in the whole Commonwealth that doesn't have council at meetings. Without a doubt in my mind, that's the dumbest thing you could do.
You have to have a
Dumb.
solicitor at the meetings. That's a protection to the city. You can't have an organized meeting without a council a counselor present. You just can't. It boggles the mind that you can't, if something were a legal question were to come up during a council meeting, or you guys needed some advice during the meeting, if somebody from the public had a comment that you needed a legal counselor on, he's not there. And, it's wrong. And, with respect to, the hangar, I mean, that's just one piece, the helicopter pad. The rest, the hangars are just there for storage, okay? And, they're overpriced when, being put on the agenda, okay, when you could purchase them for the same cost at brand new and with manufacturer warranty. So, I mean, to say something, like, just to play smoke and mirrors with the numbers is just, I'm not buying it.
Vote no.
All right. Thanks.
You could vote no, Gene. Thank you. Any more comments? Okay, we'll move on with the meeting. Next order of business is council appoint a legal advisor.
I present.
Go ahead.
I present, we'd like to appoint for the law offices of Skowalski and DeCosmo of 39 North Broad Street, West Hazleton, for our council legal advisor.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question?
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Dr. Sosar second.
Okay.
On the
Thank you.
question?
On the question. On the question.
Go ahead.
The administration is against this. I was on council when there was one, and all it did was go back and forth between different opinions.
Well,
Go
we're going to
ahead.
hope that they work together, Joe. I'm not
Well,
doing
no,
this
let me just
to have a different opinion or a second opinion. I hope they could work together.
Let me
Go ahead.
clarify one
Go ahead.
thing. Mr. Slusser was not at your meetings by my orders, but the order was, if they asked you to go, you go. Nobody's ever asked. When you did ask, he came and sat there and never was asked a question. But if you asked, he came. You didn't ask.
Well,
That's
this
why.
is the first I'm hearing of that.
Oh,
and
come
Joe,
on,
that's
Jack.
part of the problem with this administration. The first time I'm
no.
hearing this,
No.
and this is the first time I'm hearing about this medevac that you've been working on for 4 months, 5 months. That's part of the problem with this administration.
That had a confidential problem with
Yeah,
it.
so you don't tell us, and we make
Right.
the decisions. Now we
Yeah.
have to make a decision
Well,
with 15 minutes.
And you guys can't act on your feet? You
Yeah, we
need
could. We are going to act on our feet, but
you
it
need
isn't
2
right.
to 3 weeks.
It isn't right that we have to get this information when we have to make a
You have
decision
been
2
well
days
aware
before.
of it. You were aware of it when we bought the first hangar.
And that was rammed down our throat,
But
too.
you were aware of a medical helicopter coming. So don't say you were never aware of it. You weren't aware of the terms. The terms are financial.
Okay,
You
I'd
just
like
got
to call
them.
just a point of order here.
So,
A point of order here. Really, the question right now is
Okay.
dealing with the legal advisor, and we've gotten off track. I think if we keep to the point of a legal advisor,
Okay.
we're in better shape.
Okay, go ahead.
Well,
Joe.
well, it was told to you about Mr. Slusser here, Attorney Slusser, that if you wanted him here, he would be here. Nobody's ever asked.
Nobody told me that, Joe. You maybe told Mr. Parrott, the president. I never heard that.
Well, it was told publicly. It's been in the paper.
And may I
It's
say this?
everywhere.
Joe, a
But
lot of
here.
the communication did not come down from the president to the rest of council. We were left out of the loop of a lot of things, Joe.
I made that statement publicly, that he was allowed to go if you needed him. But I guess you're beyond that point
But
right
Joe,
now.
there's a lot of times
Is this
when
gentleman...
you don't need,
is-
know if we need
Is
him or not.
Attorney Sukowski going to be the legal opinion of the city now, or what is he going to be?
Maybe
What's
you
his
should ask
position?
Mr. Sukowski.
Well, if you read your
Well, in the
own-
third-class city code, it allows us to have a solicitor. That's in the code.
An
You're allowed a
advi- no, no.
solicitor. Council's allowed a solicitor.
Allowed an advisor, not
an
a solicitor,
advisor.
Jack.
An
advisor.
Not a solicitor. He can only advise you 4 people, 5 people. He can't make law. He can't direct the city. So to me, you could get that advice from Attorney Slusser. There's nothing that you have done at a meeting that is going to make the police come in here and take you off to jail that you're telling these people that's what's going to happen. It's not going to happen that way. So don't be scaring the public.
We're not
scaring
scaring
the
the
public?
public. Maybe Frank would like to come to
Frank,
the
come
podium.
to the podium and maybe explain the third-class city code and your role and your firm's role in what we're going to be doing.
council would deem to appoint us, I would like to work with the administration. My nephew and my partner, Attorney DeCosmo, is here. Article 47 of the code provides for this, and unfortunately, it's on my chart. Do you have the ordinance provision? It states, I think specifically would advise, and it states very clearly what our role would be in giving the council advice that would be independent. Forth as follows: advise council, attend regular meetings, advise council related to city's business, available to the city clerk for the purposes of consultation and advice on issues.
Where are you reading that from?
I'm reading that from the section 4-7 of the code.
Administrative code.
Yeah, the administrative code.
The administrative code is formulated by the council, not by the third-class city code. Third-class city code says you can have an advisor. But all those little specifics are done by the council.
Yes, it states here. I'm not saying
that. So
that's
the law of the city, not a law of the state.
I didn't say it was the law of the city code. I did not say.
But we provided it.
But you were asking me to state what we would be doing.
But I know, and I've read it, and I know
and
what you're doing.
Our job would be to advise council on important contracts like what happened today. Tell them we don't. Today, unfortunately, from what I'm hearing, there's something on the agenda they haven't seen before. Well, we're advising council, my nephew and I, we won't let that happen. We're going to say, if you want something presented, we could do executive sessions with Attorney Slusser. I've worked with Attorney Slusser before, and we can work together to move the city forward. We're not here to fight with the administration.
Well,
we're here to work with council.
I think you already are, Frank.
How
because the solicitor has reviewed the contract and has stated it to council that he reviews it, but now they don't believe him. So that's the whole purpose of you becoming the advisor.
Number one, you're putting the cart in front of the horse. You're assuming what we've decided already.
The horse is well in front of the cart.
Mayor, all we're trying to do, if we're appointed to this position and we were asked to represent council and give them legal opinions concerning important business with regard to the city, that's what we would do. We will be here for council to answer their questions, as you said, all of the individuals on council, not 5 of them.
Okay, thank you, Frank.
You can stay there, Frank.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I have a question. I know that earlier Dave was talking about trust and friends and family. Is this a payback for you trying to get a water authority member to go on with a vote to form a majority to get Pete O'Donnell the job?
A payback? No, you don't know who I am, and let me tell you, there is not anything that I'm taking this position because I love the city of Hazleton. I do not need this position. There are no paybacks.
I know that you called one to try to get a majority to get Pete O'Donnell a job. So then I see your name here that you're going to be on as council advisor.
Okay,
so
he answered the question. You have another one?
Let me answer that question again specifically. No, that had nothing to do with anything of this position. What I am here, and I was asked by council because I know some of the councilmen. I've been a mayor of West Hazleton 20 years ago. I've been involved with politics in this community, in Hazel Township, in West Hazleton, and in the city for many years. This position is something that my firm, my nephew and I, would do in hopefully getting rid of a lot of this animosity that exists in the city. Hopefully helping, again, whatever council, we would work for council. But we will give them legal opinions as the law is. They will be unbiased and they will be honest legal opinions. They will be, as I've been doing the township solicitor now for 20 years, Cranberry Environmental, the meth clinic, the asphalt plant. Every one of those went to the Supreme Court. Skokowski and DeCosmo represented, as we will this council, yourself included, will get legal advice when there is a conflict, and every administration in the country has legislative and executive functions. That's the executive office. You are the legislative. There's going to be conflicts between them. Our advice would be to represent council in those conflicts, to tell you this is our legal opinion. Again, hopefully we can work together. Hopefully there will never be any debates or arguments. Hopefully we can sit down, you'll have a question, I'll work with Chris Lesser, and it will be resolved if there's issues. But if there is an issue where you're at odds with the administration, and that happens. It happens in Congress, it happens in the state government, it happens in local government. Our representation will be unbiased, based upon the law, to the best of our ability, to represent you guys, the council, the legislative, in your function, elected by the taxpayers of the city. That's what our function would be, in my understanding of the function. Not going to try to interfere with anybody, not going to try to take money off the taxpayers to inflate our bill. We will do the best we can with what we are told to do.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you. Any other questions?
An opinion is
I just have one
Go ahead.
comment to make at
Go
this
ahead.
point. Whatever the reason, whatever the circumstances that arose, everybody knows what things were like within the last year or two. And this council needs guidance. And one of the things, because I did sit on council before, I ask and I look for an aggressive council to be able to say when I start opening my mouth, and I do open it too much, hey, slow down. You shouldn't really be talking about that in open. That's a liability. That's a this. You need to do this. You need to consider other alternatives. The legal opinions are important, and that is why this council needs this. This is not a conflict. This should be supplemental. And if it works right, and we're going to know real quick, if it works right, this is going to be a very big help, not only to the city, but to the council itself. And the council is what these good people here are here to see today. Not this argument going on. They're here to see what we do. And that's what we should be acting on.
And I'd like to say something, point of order. This is to enhance what we've had with Chris's opinions, not to work against anybody, but we need protection and guidance. Now, whether Chris was available upon request to council is immaterial. He should have been available for the public in case there was a question, and many a times there were when public came to the podium and there wasn't a solicitor in that spot to address the answer the question. We're doing this to benefit everybody, and it's going to benefit Keith as well as every member on council, but most importantly, it's going to benefit the public. You will have representation at a meeting at all times, or a work session if it's deemed necessary, so that you can address any of your questions and get answers. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, any other questions?
I got one.
Go ahead.
What about the fees? Do we have any rate with the fee rate, a contract, anything that, what this is going to cost towards
Frank,
the
your
budget?
fee's going to be the same as the solicitor.
But shouldn't that be in here?
One,
like,
$120 an hour, I believe.
$120 an hour.
Attorney solicitor, what do you charge?
I believe it's 125.
125. It's going to be the same. It's not going to be any higher.
Shouldn't that be in here before?
Well, when he'll give us maybe a contract or something in writing, but that's what it's going to be. It's not going to be higher than.
Well, I'm just towards the budget. I would want to be able to see where we fit it in.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. We'll get that. We'll get that.
That's my
formalized.
concern: is where do we find the money for?
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I mean, I like the idea of.
Are you approving this without a contract?
We can't hire somebody until we have an approval.
Well, maybe we should have the contract in our hand.
We'll get a contract.
Well, that's a little too late. Then you better put this on.
We'll get a contract. We're going to hire. We're voting on it now. We know you disagree with it. That's fine.
No.
That's fine. You don't come to council meetings, so you don't care.
I
You don't
care.
come to council meetings, so you don't care who's here. You don't care if
Jack,
Chris or any lawyer's here.
If
So don't worry about it.
anybody doesn't care.
Don't worry about it.
Why?
Don't worry about it.
It's a contract.
Well,
it's
we'll
costing
do
the city
the
money,
contract. Don't
and
worry.
you're-
We'll get that. We'll get that to you.
You're wrong.
We'll get
But
you a contract.
You're wrong. You
have
better not
any more
approve this.
questions?
I just
This'll be wrong.
have any more
by it
questions?
saying here that it's confirmed. I mean, shouldn't we get like a?
Okay,
to
we're
negotiate
voting
with
on this. You don't want to vote for it. Okay, that's fine. Fine. You have any more questions?
No, that's it.
Okay, roll call.
Jeff, make a table. Make a motion.
Roll
to
call.
table.
Roll call.
Bast,
No.
Cassatt,
No.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Next order of business. Old business. An ordinance making transfers of the general appropriation ordinance for the year 2013. Ordinance 2013-31.
I'll present.
Second.
On the question.
Go ahead. On the question. Steve, what are we doing here? We're making transfers.
This is for areas in the expenditure columns of or sections of the budget where there was, the from section is where money was not spent, but it was budgeted, and that's being asked to be moved to cover expenditures that had gone over the budget line item number.
And
So it's
were
in-
these expenditures paid for already or not?
Yes.
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 So in other words, it went over the line item and they didn't come to council for transfers?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
This is the transfer.
At the end.
Yes.
Okay.
Just
Go ahead.
one other question, Steve. How far back do some of these transfers go, actually? Do you know, by chance?
I don't know the dates of them as far as when they might have gone over.
Are they recent transfers? Are they past transfers? Are they very
We're
old transfers?
the administration is requesting that these transfers be approved so that the expenditures.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, was the money moved recently? Was the money moved a while ago? Was it moved?
The money was.
Is there
no
any
money
kind of
was
time
moved.
frame that these were actually carried out?
No money was moved. These are areas where more money was spent than was budgeted, and or less money was spent than budgeted. And
Most of them,
Okay,
most of them come apparent near the end of the year when the line item dissipates.
Okay, I would strongly encourage, and I think that one of the things that again, everybody here in council and in the general public needs is a regular update. And what I would suggest is a regular monthly, I know that, or a meeting report on finances and any transfers, any monies that are going and expending beyond the limit, because as it gets to 5%, that's where council needs to step in. And if it does go beyond that, I don't care when, I don't care if it's next meeting, we should really be taking action on that or not. But to do this all at the end of the year is kind of difficult. I understand the money's been already spent. There's not much that you can do. But I do think for the sake of the good people out here and us, we need a continual account. And I know that you get a check register.
Yep.
I know that we get some of that stuff. But I think a full accounting of where we stand month by month. Are we over? Are we under? Are we in the black? I can't tell you. And you know what? No offense. We all saw in the paper. We all got emails about, and I'm not pointing accusing fingers. Please don't get me wrong. But the city's in the black. The city's in good shape, and very close to the end, we heard differently. And what we've got to do is for the sake of everybody, since no offense, except for the budget and some appointments that we do have, monitoring that budget as power of the purse strings throughout the entire year is basically our charge. And so I would really like to know early when these things are occurring, okay? I think that's important. You know, this is it, but we got to do this earlier. We got to let people know.
I agree with Dave. Now, these have already been transferred and paid for, right?
Pardon?
This is all these transfers have been paid for. You already transferred and did it. This is after the fact. We're doing this.
The monies have not been transferred at all in the.
Have the bills been paid?
Yes.
Or how they pay them?
Well, then how do you pay them if they're not transferred into the line
item is
items?
expended.
So why are we even doing this now if you already paid them? Part of the reason you do a budget and you come to us for transfers is we have to decide whether we want to do that, whether we want to transfer a line item. Right. That's the point of having a budget. Right. It can't be after the fact. This should have been before. This should have been 2 months before. And I told you that at the last budget meeting. Right. Don't you think so?
In most of these items, I absolutely would agree, and we will, if I could, this is a number of transfers that are being requested because that's what has to be done.
Well, you have to,
But
but
I
this
just
should have,
also-
you should have done ahead of time.
And
You should have
again, I'm
said,
not-
we're anticipating these bills, we need to transfer this money to pay these bills, not paying them afterwards. What is that?
Dennis Moore, when I spoke to him when he was at the council meeting, himself said part of his problem of getting the audit out is because he's having a difficult time trying to follow the transfers. And he's an auditor.
There were a number of years, I might point out, that there were
I agree
previous
with you,
years
Steve.
there were no.
I agree with you.
There were absolutely
This
no
is what
transfers
we're
done
trying-
whatsoever.
this is what
so
we're
trying to
trying to
work into
correct.
this system, and the council, Mr. Sosar, does receive a monthly or twice a month report of exactly what
I know,
was budgeted
Steve, but
and
you
how
have
much was
to
spent.
be ahead of the
Yes,
curve
yes.
and see that you're
Right.
going over in one, and you have to do that. You have to come to us and say, listen, we're depleted this line item, we need to transfer funds, not after you paid them.
I agree.
You agree with
I
that?
agree.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, and this year that won't happen.
And we're not
Pardon?
blaming you, Steve. It's
In-
been an ongoing.
To the best of our ability, we will try to do that. There could be something near the end of the year where
I
certain-
understand that.
There could be snowstorms, for instance,
Yeah.
every day that we
Yeah.
have to have people out plowing is going to bump the overtime over
Right,
the
and that-
5%.
that's
You may not have a
understandable.
meeting scheduled to be able to address that, so we'll try our best to keep on top
That's
of that. But
understandable, but as Dennis Moore said, he's put that in his letter.
what he said was that transfers were not done, which is correct. Now we're doing them, or I'm asking that they be done. This is a step in that direction. Now, to anticipate them, the code does say if it's going to go over 5% above the budget item, it needs to be approved by council
Exactly,
first.
and we're making
we
that
will be
perfectly
bringing-
clear that
Yes.
this is no longer going to occur.
Right.
So you've been on notice.
And that was part of the reason to be able to monitor that. Somebody has to be very carefully monitoring every purchase that's made for every pen, every pencil, every tablet of paper, is why I requested a person to be helping out part-time, in a part-time capacity to help out with purchasing, because it is not done in a way that we know things. There's some delays that we've worked on with, particularly in the highway department. It can take months for something to come from the highway department and invoice up to this office here. By then, it's way too late to know. So when we have to know is, if the money isn't there, you can't buy that piece to begin with. And that's where we have to step back a few steps. And I would ask for some patience in this current year. We will get those ahead of time to you.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions? Roll call?
Excuse me. Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Next, ordinance 2013. Oh, third
Oh,
reading,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
there's third reading, Jack.
Third reading, I'm sorry. Ordinance 2013-31, third reading.
I'll present.
Second. On the question? Roll call?
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance 2013-32, an ordinance making supplemental appropriations of the general appropriation ordinance of the year 2013, 2013-32.
Mr. President, if I could.
Go ahead.
This group of items are where the previous one was moving something from one expense column to a different expense column. This is extra revenues. The from section is additional revenues that we received over and above the budget that we're asking to be moved into the expense category.
Is this from the sewer?
This is from general fund.
From the general fund?
Yes.
Okay, do I need does somebody present?
Presented.
No, nobody presented yet.
Okay, Dr. Sosar presented it.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Jean.
Okay.
On the question?
So in other words, this really is a supplement to the other one, because this is your monies that you're going to be expending above and beyond.
So were the previous ones.
Right.
Also had expenditures, but we were asking to fund them. There was an expense column that we didn't spend money in that we're asking to move to a different expense.
Right.
This is revenue that was over and above what we had budgeted that came in.
Okay. Any other questions? No. Roll call?
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Third reading?
Presented.
I'll second.
On the question? Roll call?
Yes.
Bast, Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, ordinance 2013-33, an ordinance making supplemental appropriations of sewer transmission appropriation ordinance of the year 2013, beginning January 1st, 2013, ending December 31st.
Present.
Who's presented?
Cassette.
Jeff presented. Second, on the question?
These numbers here, I don't see them matching when I look in the sewer transmittal
Go ahead.
ledger.
Steve.
The sewer transmission fund was at zero. There was no, the system was turned over to the Joint Hazleton or Greater Hazleton Joint Sewer Authority. These were, monies came in because billing was sent out for this. Approximately $400 and some thousand in revenue came in, and there were some expenditures that were made early in the year for some of the materials and equipment for these Penvest loans. Item number at the very bottom is that really shouldn't be contracted engineering services. That's primarily, I think all of that pays for a piece of equipment that was purchased. But anyway, the reason this says 62,000, that's to match the amount of expenditure.
The 62,000 matches, but the 20,000 was for the sweeper.
Yes.
You also had an in and out transaction of 200,000. That should be in here.
That was for salaries, wages.
April 29th, you took 200,000 out. It went back in, but it should still be a transfer for accounting purposes. That 200,000 should be in here.
It would actually have been two transactions.
Yes,
would
it
be
should,
one.
but it should still be in here for accounting purposes. It should be 200 in, 200 out, and this 20,000 was for the sweeper. Or you took 180 and 20. The account this needs to be amended. If you took 200 out for general fund wages, and then you still have 20,000 in general fund wages out, that means there's 180,000 went back in, and the sweeper came out.
200,000 went back in.
200, yeah, but you're saying 20,000 here is for general fund wages. So that means 180 went back in for the fund wages, and the 20,000 for the sweeper went back in.
Earlier in the year, $200,000 was used and then replaced.
It was a transfer. If it moved from one account to another, it's a transfer. It should be in here. The number will still match up, but it should be registered as a transfer.
And it still had to go to council because it had a zero line item in the budget.
Right.
So that transfer.
It's only for accounting purposes, but it should still be at 200,000 should be in here to show that the money's moving.
All right. The money coming. We could do that. That could be correct. Yes.
I'm just.
Okay.
When this report was printed, when this was done, the money had been brought back in there. So at the time this was done, that 200,000.
So is this an additional 20,000 to wages, or because you move the money out, you move the money back in, and now is this $20,000 that actually came out of the sewer fund for wages?
There was 200,000 that was used and then put back in. And this 20,000 is a separate item.
That's a separate
But
item.
anytime money moves, it should be written as a transfer.
220,000 was moved over, 200 was returned.
But when it's transferred from one account to another, it should be asked from the council. That's all I'm saying.
That's correct, yes.
So this just needs to be.
You want to amend it, Jeff? You could make a motion to amend it to include that 200,000. You could do that.
Okay, then we'll make a motion to amend that
I'll second the amendment.
Okay.
On the question on the amendment to the ordinance?
Excuse me, Jack. What is the amendment again?
We're putting $200,000 in this transfer.
Okay.
And then we'd have to take it back out.
And then we take it back out.
Well, yeah, you take it back out.
But it would be.
But what is it going to be called? Do you know?
We're going to take 200. We're going to transfer from 200,000 from general to the general fund wages.
Oh, okay.
Up on top, and then on the bottom,
there's going to be a transfer to general fund wages should total of $200,000, and the transfer to the it was the sweeper purchase was $20,000.
$20,000.
And it's still going to equal $62,621. It's just for accounting purposes, it should be.
Okay, okay.
Is it not
You got
shows-
that, Lisa?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we'll vote on the amendment. Any more questions? Roll call?
This is for the amendment.
This is for the amendment, yes.
For the amendment to the,
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Mundy, Sosar, I'm sorry.
Yes.
And Mundy.
yes. Now on the ordinance, the transfer, we
We did an amendment, so now
yeah, we amended
This
it.
this will be as amended.
This is as amended, the ordinance, yeah, the ordinance 2013-33. Any more questions? Roll call?
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Yes.
Mundy.
Okay, we have to do a third reading. Third reading on this amendment. Do I have a
Present.
Jeff presents, I'll second. On the question? Roll call?
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Yes.
Mundy.
Thank you.
Next, Resolution 2013-122, a resolution requesting local share account funds for the Hazleton Regional Airport.
Isn't this too late?
Past the
Yeah,
deadline,
just let it die.
This was tabled and,
It's past the date.
okay, it's past the date, so we'll just let it die. On to new business, ordinance is none. Resolution 2014-4, council meeting scheduled for the year 2014.
Presented.
Second.
On the question?
I'm sorry, who presented?
Dave.
Okay.
Dr. Sosar presented.
Thank you.
And Jeff second. On the question? Roll call?
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Next, Resolution 2014-5, approving the purchase order for the purchase of a 23-foot Ford small wheelchair transit vehicle from the Roar Bus Sales.
I'll present.
Second.
We're looking to purchase a 23-foot
State your name.
Ralph Sharp.
Ralph, okay, Ralph, thanks.
Well, we're looking to purchase a 23-foot ADA paratransit van that will hold 6 wheelchairs at one time. The funds we're going to be using for this purchase is PTAF funds, which is a reserve account through the state that they add money to in every year for capital purchases. They're asking us to use this PTAF funds because right now they're no longer putting money into PTAF, so they want us to use some of it up.
Utilize the money.
They're starting to put it into an Act 44 fund instead, so they want us to use some of the money. So I'm sorry.
We're going to buy it.
We're going to purchase.
We own it.
We own it, just
But
like we
who
own.
drives it? We're going to have we have paid drivers.
We contract out to.
We don't drive it.
No, we do not
Okay.
drive it. We contract out to Easton Coach. They do our paratransit services.
And how much is it going to cost? You know?
50,000.
50,000. Okay. Any other questions for Ralph? Okay. Thanks, Ralph. Thank you. Roll call.
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Okay, next is Resolution 2014, appointment to the Hazleton City Authority.
I'd like to present Phil Andrus for this appointment.
I'll second that.
On the question?
I know that earlier in today, it was said that nobody's name got put on for whatever purposes, but do we have a resume for Phil? Because I wasn't told of anything, so I couldn't contact him about this. And I know Phil has been going around telling everybody he could for the last 6 months that he was going back on. So I know this is,
I'll take the blame for not
squirrel.
having a resume for Phil, but he was on there previously for 15 years. He's always had the best interest of the Water Authority at heart, and I could vouch for him, and I'll take the blame for not having a resume for him. It's my fault, not council.
I know this is, just kind of the roundabout thing that keeps going on for the last 20 years. I know Phil has also used his, let's say, position at the Water Authority when he had an issue with a certain company that fixed his vehicle, that he then went and pulled their service contract from the city, or from the authority, which is pretty much illegal to use that.
Okay.
Also,
anything,
Jack, I'm still
you
speaking,
have
please.
Also,
he's using his position. I also have people that told me that he has told them that they can never get a job at the Water Authority, which, if anybody knows me, I am completely against all of this kind of cronyism that's been going on in this city for the last 20 years. And I have never told anybody they couldn't get a job. I've never told anybody not to apply for a job. I've been told that myself that I couldn't get a job. But what's been going on up there for the last couple decades is just disgusting as far as I'm concerned. And this is just the whole merry-go-round.
What's disgusting is your friend Keegan spending money because it isn't his own on that Water Authority.
This isn't. I have no idea what goes on up there because I don't ask. I don't tell them to go and do anything, Jack. But I know that you
should know what's going on because you appoint the people that are on there.
I don't go and ask and try to butt into their day-to-day operations. I know that you want to control everything in the city because you told me you don't care about the city, that you only care about the Water Authority, and that's the day I knew I couldn't trust you. You said that to me specifically, Jack. So whenever this, monkey motion stops, maybe the people will kind of understand where Jack really cares, and that's just for the power
thank you.
and everything else.
I've sat on the Water Authority for 10 years. The position that is being replaced right now is mine. And I have worked diligently with an awful lot of people on that Water Authority, Mr. Andrus, Mr. Amon, Mr. Zoba, Mr. DeAndrea, you go through the list of names. Dr. I'm trying to remember his name now. Lopez. Agapito Lopez, and a lot of others. And you know what? The fact of the matter is that there is a group of people up there right now with no one with more than approximately 4 years of experience. I was the senior statesman with 10 years experience. There is nobody who knows the environment of this watershed, nobody who knows the science of the Water Authority, nobody who knows the finances and the system itself better than this gentleman. This gentleman has used his efforts as a real leader on that Water Authority, and I really take umbrage that you are suggesting some of the things that you're suggesting, Mr. Bass. I'm not going to go into them. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. I think that's the wrong thing to do. If you can point to me to show me that this man does not know what he's doing on that Water Authority, please do. Otherwise, this gentleman with 15 years of experience, a science teacher, a person who is a personal environmentalist for his entire life, and I can continue to go on. That's it. This gentleman is much more qualified than anybody else that I could think of.
Okay, any other questions? Roll call?
Excuse me. Bast?
No.
Cassatt?
Yes.
Mope?
Yes.
Sosar?
Yes.
Monday?
Yes. Next on our resolutions, Resolution 2014-8, the appointment, 2014-7, appointment to the Sewer Authority.
I'd like to nominate Grace Kuzo for the appointment.
Second.
Dr. Sosa seconds.
Yeah.
Are you second, Jeff?
Whichever. I'll second. I'll second.
Jeff seconds it.
Okay.
On the question?
again, this is another one that, just, okay, we're going to tell everybody right at the meeting. You, on one hand, say that someone is on a board and was there for so long that was very qualified, and then you take someone off a board that was there that's very qualified to put in someone else that is brand new. I hope that you sold your vote for Pete O'Donnell, Grace. I know that he had, I know that people were contacted to get him a job because he's not capable of having his own job, and I know what this is all about. So, and it's just absolutely disgusting.
And
I know that John Sullivan was told that if he supported that, that it would go very much to his benefit, and then when he, wouldn't go along, then they just moved on to the next person.
I'd like to come to the podium.
No. Let me. Can I just say suggest one thing?
I know this was going on. I've been told.
I'm just going to say one thing.
Go ahead,
real
Dr.
quick.
Sosa.
Just one thing real quick. And everybody knows from 1991 on, in fact, probably even before that, Lord knows that there have been love-hate relationships that I personally had as I sat in this particular chair that Grace Kuzo and I have had arguments on. We've not always seen eye to eye on a lot of things, but I will give Grace Kuzo her due. Grace Kuzo knows more about what goes on in this city than in practically anybody that I know. You want to talk numbers sometime? You talk to Grace Kuzo. You want to know what happened 15, 20 years ago? You talk to Grace Kuzo. You want to know what the dollar amounts are? All you got to do is stand or sit here long enough. You sit in the audience just like some of you have, day after day when we've had our meetings, and listen to her come on up and rattle off a number of dollars and cents. And why are you doing this? And this is going to cost this, and this is going to cost that. If you're going to put somebody on the sewer authority, I don't know of somebody better right now that knows precisely the governmental functions of the sewer authority than Grace Kuzo does, period.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments?
Other than the fact that I concur with Dr. Sosar, she's quite knowledgeable in any department of this city. She spent her entire life doing this, attending council meetings, and she doesn't have to be on a board to ask questions. She does it on her own under the right to know. So if there's any information that anybody would need to ask anyone, it would concerning either the sewer authority or any department in the city, you would go to Grace Kuzo, because she is a fountain of knowledge, and I respect her for it. Thank you.
Okay, roll call.
Bast,
No.
Cassette,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Next, Resolution 2014-8, appointment to the Health Services Authority.
I'd like to present Ted Schirach for this appointment.
I'll second that.
On the question? Roll call?
Again,
Oh, sorry.
where's the
Go ahead.
resume? This is
Yeah,
just ridiculous. There's no
he's,
transparency with this
okay, he's right
already
here.
on day one.
He's here. You could ask him any questions you want. Go ahead. Teddy, you could come to the podium.
Dave,
He's been on before. This is a reappointment, not a new hire.
This is, my term is up. I've been on the health.
It's a reappointment, Keith.
I've been on the Health Authority for a number of years.
Okay.
At the request of then council, Yanuzzi asked me to be on, and I served very faithful, never missed a meeting. And this is just a reappointment.
Okay.
If you have any questions on that, I certainly will address
I'll
them.
ask you later after the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Roll call?
Bast,
Yes.
Cassette,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Next is Resolution 2014-9, approving the agreement between the City of Hazleton and Ed Marinick. I don't know if is that how you spell his name right? I thought it's spelled differently. Dominic, you have that, is that the name right? I thought it was spelled differently.
I believe it's correct, yes.
Okay. For the lease purchase of a hangar at the Hazleton Regional Airport I'll say one thing before this is presented. We had an executive session and talked to people from the hospital and from Lehigh and from Medevac, so I'll preface that, but it's on the floor.
I'll present.
Second.
Jeff seconded it. On the question?
We did have an executive session, and I appreciate the fact, but once again, I'm going to reiterate. We had a half hour's worth of a meeting, okay? And we need to do things that we're not being rushed into. Whether, I don't know if there's a particular time constraint or not, I felt this should have waited until we had the ability to ask more questions, get more answers, feel out what generally was going on, especially as a courtesy to the new council members. I don't intend for this to happen again. I want to be kept abreast, and I'm sure the rest of the council wants to be kept abreast of what exactly is going on. We're not trying to micromanage, but we'd like an idea, whether it's solid or it's in the deliberation stage. At least give us an idea of where we're headed. And I don't like to have to absorb this information in a short amount of time. Thank you.
Okay. I'd just like to thank Dominic for answering all my questions last week after this came out. I know that I spent a couple hours on the phone with you about this, and I realized, that you really didn't want to tell anybody until there were actual agreements signed. And once those agreements were signed and everything, that you were able to give me the information from then. So I wanted to thank you for answering all my questions this past weekend. I know I called you on the weekend and some other days. So thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? I just have one thing to say. I agree with Jeannie. We shouldn't have to be making decisions like this, but and it's not easy to make a decision when you're told a few days before you have to do something without leases, without papers. And part of the problem was our administration kept us in the dark. But that's our problem from here on in. But all I'll say is we don't want this to happen again. We want information ahead of time. We want to be able to digest it and decide what's best for the city of Hazleton. With that, I'll say roll call.
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Next, ordinance 2013-33, an ordinance making supplemental appropriations. Oh, no, sorry, that's not it. Resolution 2014-10, approving the agreement between the City of Hazleton and Lehigh Valley Hospital for a business building and aircraft space lease agreement at the Hazleton Regional Airport.
I'll present.
Second.
Jeff seconds on the question.
I just want to make a statement here. From what we were told in the discussions, it's supposed to be beneficial to the city and to the hospital and to the residents of the area. But I do not want anything that is going to hurt our hospital. We have a lot of questions about the hospital as to where it's staying, if it's moving, what's going on with that. And a lot of those concerns haven't been addressed. We don't know if it's going to remain at its present location or if it's going to be moved to a different location, such as the airport beltway. We like those things addressed, and we don't want to do anything that will hurt our current hospital. And we don't want to do anything to promote its leaving. And that's all I have to say.
Any other comments?
I'd just like to thank everyone from Lehigh Valley Health Network and Medevac for coming today and giving us the reasons why. I know, and again, Dominic, thanks for spending so much time with me this past weekend, going over everything. I think this is a very good thing for the area. It's going to decrease the amount of time that people will get, or decrease the time from when people are picked up if they have an accident, if there's any kind of thing, any kind of accident they have and they need medical attention, that they can get there faster. Hopefully it increases the services at the hospital moving forward with their plan. And I think it's a win-win for everyone in this area to to better the medical services in this area and to save lives.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Just one thing, as I mentioned in the meeting before, as a gentleman who took your ride once, I admire you guys for what you do. I just continue to hope that we work for the improvement of, again, the citizens of Hazleton and what they deserve, that everything that we do will be an improvement with the hospital, with the services that they're provided, and I know that you will do that. And if you can please keep us informed through a lot of different means, we would be greatly appreciative. Okay? Thank you very much for your services, though. I do appreciate it. Personally, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other comments? No other comments? I just want to say one thing. Thank you for coming. It's not easy to make decisions on the fly, but it seems like we have to do that. I just want to say that I hope I never have to take a ride in your one of your helicopters. Roll call.
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. That's it for our resolutions and business comments from the audience.
Dee Deacus Hazleton, how much rent are we going to be getting in the last resolution you voted on?
$3,000 a month. $3,000 a
Okay.
month.
How much are you going to have to pay to upgrade the hangar?
Nothing.
Zero. Doesn't
Okay.
need anything.
Okay, the other thing I want to mention is for years I've been saying, how come we haven't been doing transfers? And this is not a new thing that you've been having an issue. It's been ignored for years.
I know.
That's why we've had all these deficits for years, because they weren't doing transfers to let you know you were having deficits. And Mr. Yunusi sat there ignoring the fact, why don't we have transfers, both as the mayor and as a councilman? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the audience?
Gotta get that shot in.
Go ahead.
What an asshole. You couldn't let it go by.
I am disappointed as far as the purchase of the lease purchase agreement being approved upon. I think Lehigh Valley, you guys are awesome. If you guys want to purchase the airport, please feel free. I'd be more than willing to stand here and give you my blessing to purchase that airport off our hands, please. And I'd like to ask Steve about the hours for the streets department as far as what they spent up at the airport for the maintenance.
I agree with them, Steve. Please get a list of the work that's been done there for our workers' council, and we'll make it available to Mark.
I don't have that with me, but I'll.
No, when you get a chance, please get that to council.
Okay. And I would like to, close off by saying, I hope this new council takes into account and consideration, fiscal responsibility. We need to have fiscal responsibility and not just, we all have our wish lists. But the thing is, we have to focus on the priorities, not wish lists, and not, like, hey, I want this because, my so-and-so would love me to have, or would love to have this, and, they kind of asked me. So we need to have the city finances spent responsibly and for the people, not for, just on whims and wish lists. And I'd like to also take this time to say, thanks to, everybody for stopping by, and I hope this council would be productive. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mark, and we agree. I agree.
Comments from the audience? Anybody else? Sir?
You'll have Steve then, too.
What?
Name is Charlie Ziegler. I've been here before. I've complained to the city. I have been in front of council. I have been to the television station. I have been to the standard speaker about deplorable trash and abandoned vehicles laying in the city of Hazleton. Since the last time I spoke to you.
Hold it right there, Joe. Hold it right there, Charlie. Mayor, did you see the headlines in the paper a couple weeks ago?
These are pictures.
Where it said pigsty. Did you see that?
I saw it, yeah.
Did you direct anyone to do anything about that?
Yes,
Who did you direct?
the code department.
Are they working on it?
And I think the police, but there was a
Are
problem.
they working on it?
Yeah, they're working on it.
You told them specifically?
Yes.
Okay. Chief, has he talked to you about it?
There was
About the pigsty that are out there?
the car
The
that was in the
pigsties.
paper.
Okay, you're working on it? Okay. Well, could you maybe...
Inform him.
Maybe talk to Mr. Ziegler and he'll, has he told you where they are? You know where they all are? Okay, could you after the meeting talk to him and get a list of the properties that he says need...
Mr. Ziegler could come 24 hours a day, 7 days a week and drop that.
Well, I know.
Why are these cars being tagged for such a long period of time and not towed away?
Well, that's a good question.
1 year, one car sitting.
I'm happy to answer that when you're done.
And also, the garbage has, since the last time I spoke in front of council, garbage has got worse. There's been more dumping. Now there's homeless shelters up on that bank.
Okay, the garbage dumping and picking up, we have to talk to the city authority. The contract's with them, but I appreciate it. I will.
No, I'm
contact them,
talking
too.
on top of these piles here. There's been more trash thrown there. Now there's mattress and box springs on top of this.
Oh, okay. This isn't garbage from.
This is more to the illegal dumping.
Okay,
This is more to the illegal dumping.
Code.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, talk to
Chief, maybe you want to address the tagging stuff, or what? Go ahead.
We've talked about that several times before. And I'd worked with the solicitor after it was brought to my attention about what might be the grandfathering issue of am I going to be allowed to go to some of these businesses that have abandoned vehicles all over them, who've had them for years, and have them fall under that happened before you've adopted the IPMC. So after a lengthy review from the solicitor's office...
Wait. You're saying they're grandfathered because we adopted this later and so they could keep their...
What I'm saying is that the issue of grandfathering would come up because they would say the vehicles have been there since the 80s and you didn't adopt the laws until 2009. And so I had to first do a review, have the solicitor's office do a review to make sure that we could go to places that have had abandoned vehicles forever and tell them they have to be cleaned up.
So, okay, that's been solved, so we could
Correct.
do that.
And now,
So it's not an issue.
code enforcement, I've had my police department comb the city and identify every one of these abandoned vehicles that we can. And code enforcement has a list, and they are now currently writing what's called a notice of violation, an NOV, which will be sent out to every one of these properties. And instead of 21 days, they're given 30 days to get those vehicles off of their property. On the 31st day, code enforcement and the police department shall go back out, and the vehicles that haven't been moved, those properties are going to be cited through the notice of violation, through the IPMC, and end up in front of the magistrate.
How about the vehicles? Can't you tow them to an impound and then they have to pay?
No. If the vehicle's on private property, we can't tow them. Because it becomes our expense. It's up to the property owner to tow them, which is the catch-22. The property owners are the ones who want to leave them abandoned on their property. So the only way for us to get them off is to start to find the property owners through going through this notice of violation. But what I wanted to do, because I recognize some of these are prominent businesses. It's not just one person who owns a house with a junk car in his yard. Some of them are prominent businesses. And I wanted to make sure before we got tied up in a legal expense that we got the opinion of the solicitor first on how do we go about making this happen so we are legal and we didn't spend money to find out later, oh, they're grandfathered because they've been there since the 80s and the IPMC wasn't adopted till 2009. We're covered with that. So we're now taking the steps. It's a process. But when we do it and those letters go out, they're going to every abandoned vehicle that we've identified in the city at the same time, and hopefully within a month, it's going to look like spring.
While you're up here, how about McKinley Street? How are we doing on that? Where are you at with that?
We're still working with now getting the judgments filed in New Jersey and transferring them to the court in New Jersey so that we could then pursue seizing somebody's house or property if they don't pay.
Now, what I suggested, and this council has even allocated, the last council allocated some money in the CD budget to do that next year. But Joe, you could do it by just saying we should use CD money and clean up that mess there and help those people in that neighborhood. I know you don't want to do it because it was my idea, because I was running for re-election, but re-election's over now. So why don't you just say?
That's
why
not
don't
true.
you just say use the CD money? It's going to cost maybe $5,000 or $6,000.
Yeah, but you made a statement, Jack, that was untrue because you were running. Is why I didn't clean up McKinley
You could have
Street.
did something about that pile of junk.
Not true.
Hey, all you had to do was sign off on it.
Stay on the comment.
That is true.
Stay on the comment.
I'm telling you, all you had to do was
ran
sign
for
off
office.
the CD money. We would have cleaned that mess up.
Because you ran for office. I'm
No,
not
it was
cleaning
because
up
it was
McKinley
my
Street.
idea. You didn't do it.
Foolish.
Why can't you do it now? I'm saying, now you're at a meeting, I'm saying, why don't you sign off on the CD money?
I'm not going to be tearing down and cleaning up
not tearing
people's
down
property.
anything. There's a pile of rubble there.
It's already
People,
down.
It's a mess.
Yeah, it's down. Well, what do you think that's going to cost?
$5,000 or $6,000.
5 or 6?
Yeah.
Well, then go do it.
Well, then I'll get somebody to do it.
All right. That's like you're going to sell the land at the water.
I am going to do that. That's going to be the first order of business.
That was 2 years ago.
That's the first order of business, and you'll see. You'll see how fast I sell that land. Okay.
I don't want to use
Thank you.
taxpayers.
Thank you.
I don't want to use taxpayers' money on private property.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
Mike Wilfing. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
I know off the top of my head 3 ordinances that you have that covers abandoned vehicles. 2 of them on your website. I mean, I don't know what the big problem is. McKinley Street, the city's not living up to the International Property Maintenance Code, how it's written. You're not supposed to be going to New Jersey for judgments. You clean it up, you go get a lien, period.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's in the code. Read the code.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? Go ahead. Oh, comments from the chief. Go ahead, chief. You're always allowed to comment.
Thank you. I just feel compelled to answer. It's easy to get a lien. Anybody could do that. The problem is that the property has been abandoned after a fire. A lien is only good when somebody sells the property, that then you get the money after they sell it. These people have abandoned the property. It will never be sold. So we'll never recoup our money.
I agree with you, but,
Right.
but we may never get our money, and you and Chris are spending thousands of dollars, and we still might not end up with them having to clean that. You're going to get judgments in another state, and we have nothing. And meanwhile, his bills are keep adding up. How much are they now? $4,000, $5,000, $6,000? They're as much as it would have cost to clean it up.
I can't
Don't you
argue
think?
about the cleanup, but then the issue becomes, are we setting a precedent for the other few
We're allowed,
hundred
okay,
properties?
yes, we've set a precedent. We've done this
Which
before.
ones then
We've
do we
cleaned
clean
up
and which ones don't we?
messes. We've cleaned up. I've done it before with CD money. If it's a mess and it's a danger to the public and to the people in that neighborhood, we clean it up.
Right.
We do it because it's a danger.
So again, my question becomes, how do we draw the line on which ones we clean up and which ones we don't?
Well, then that becomes a decision
That
that
becomes
has to
our
be
decision.
made. Yes.
But it should be made. That mess should have been cleaned up a long time ago. Those people shouldn't have to suffer the consequences of having a big pile of rubble next to their house.
Right.
And it's a danger to kids. And now the summer's going to be coming, spring and the summer's coming, you're going to have kids playing there.
I can't argue about that danger, but I go right back
And in
to
Reading, they had
which
a pile of
ones
rubble.
do we clean up?
A kid went on a pile of rubble, fell through it. Guess who they sued?
Is that
They
no
sued
different
Reading.
than all of the abandoned houses that the kids play in
Yeah, that
now?
is a problem,
And
yeah.
that's what I'm getting at. Which ones do we clean and which ones do we don't, and how do we pick and choose?
Well, we try to get most of what
I don't
is
think we can come close.
what's deemed dangerous. The ones that can be boarded up, which
I would like a list, Chief. I know I asked you this before.
Yeah, sure.
A list of the abandoned properties, and you could get that to council. I mean, you had a fight with the news, and you had to give it to them, right? Channel.
Yeah, you abandoned
All the abandoned houses in Hazleton, I'd like a list
or
of them.
condemned?
Abandoned, condemned, both.
Right, because some of the ones that are abandoned, we don't even know. The condemned houses are easy because we know they're condemned, we
Okay,
condemn them.
well, whatever
Right.
list you have, could you get it to council, to
Yeah,
all of us?
absolutely. But again, my issue becomes, where do we draw the line? Because there's a ton of properties that are this dangerous, whether it's a pile of rubble or it's ready to start fire because the homeless people are living in it, and that's where they've decided now to shoot their heroin to stay warm.
that they're supposed to be by law boarded up properly.
Again, and we board them up on a weekly basis. The problem is that nobody gets to pay that bill. and we continue to, the next day you go back, it's kicked in. They take the boards right back off.
But now you're mixing apples and oranges. This is a pile of rubble. This is a dangerous pile of rubble. There's nails, there's metal, God knows what debris is in there. Was the basement filled in? Somebody steps on that pile, they
Right.
can go down
And-
to the
and
basement.
you're not
It's
getting an argument from
It's-
me.
There's no question, there's no argument, you can't compare to the two. This is an endangerment. Plus, we have our children now walking on the street because they can't use the sidewalk. It's roped off. There's no question about it. This is an endangerment to the public and the safety
Right.
of our children as well.
Now, I look at the sidewalk and I say simply, if the state of Pennsylvania authorizes and deems acceptable to use the other side of the street, as they've done for this entire Broad Street corridor, then as long as the other side of the street sidewalk is acceptable, we're okay.
And you better talk to the school district because
But
if
the
that's
kids
the
don't
corner
listen.
where the
Kids
bus...
don't listen.
I can't
If
argue
that's
with you.
the
The kids
corner
don't
where the
listen,
bus
but there
stop
is ingress and egress.
If that's the corner where the bus stop is, and that's the direction that the bus pulls in, that's the side of the street they're going to be on. So you'd have to reconfigure it with the school department to have them go to the other side of the street where they can utilize that sidewalk.
They don't have to change the route of the bus, but if you're telling me that they're meeting on the corner by McKinley Street, that's news to me. If they're on that side of the street, that's an easy fix.
That's what I was told.
That's a single phone call, and they'll just tell the kids to stand on the other corner, and when the bus turns its 8-way activated lights on, the kids will cross the street.
I've seen kids on that side of the street, Chief.
I'll
I
address
drive
that.
past there,
But
yeah.
more importantly, the lien to me is certainly not an answer.
Well,
right?
I don't know what the answer is, but it's been going on for how long? And too long.
Right. I can't say too long. I could say it's going on for a long
Well,
time,
it's
but
too long.
you make it seem as if
Well, it's
I'm
too
not
long
trying to
if you're
do
living
everything
next
I
to that
can
pile of
about it.
rubble.
It's the old ways that aren't working.
Yeah, well,
Right?
It's been going on since the spring, I believe, once the
Sure,
building was
it is.
condemned.
I don't want to make it seem like I'm not trying to do everything
we're
I
not
possibly
saying
can.
that. We're not saying that,
Mike,
Frank.
did you want to say something? Just because Mike has experience in this
Sure,
area, so
absolutely.
I'd like to...
Painting. Take away the danger.
Yeah.
As far as a lien, I never saw a lot burn and go away. A lot is still worth something
Yeah.
to sell.
In New Jersey, this is what you did when you worked for the state in New Jersey. If there was a pile of rubble or there was a house,
we had it removed.
You had it taken care of.
Yeah, and I could take a judgment over there. I've taken hundreds of judgments in New Jersey. And it's not so, it's easy to get the judgment. Try to execute and get the money.
Get the money is another thing. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions, comments from the audience? Go ahead, you could make another comment.
As some of you on council knows, my passion is for the condemned properties and, hazardous properties. And the one on McKinley Street has been going on since April of last year, since April of 2013. And nothing's been done. I mean, in the code, it even says that the mayor could go request a resolution from council to get a judgment to go in and clear out that property if it's deemed a public health hazard. Okay? So to say that nothing else could be done is, just making an excuse. And as far as with respect to this issue, where's the redevelopment authority? Where have they been? They haven't met. Since when? February? It's just, I'm tired of this issue being used as a political football. My street's there's condemned properties and hazardous properties on my street and all over Hazleton. And it hasn't been done. And I'm going around, not only to this council, I've been at county council, I've been through state reps. And, it's just like, this has been, we can't do anything because of this money hasn't been allocated or that money hasn't been allocated. I mean, yeah, there's been talk of land banks and stuff like that. I've been in Wisconsin, okay? Milwaukee Land Bank. $3 million it takes on a line item budget per year to maintain that. Do you think this Harrisburg's going to give you that kind of money per year? I don't think so. Okay? And as far as holding the owners, Mike's right about the, in New Jersey, in Patterson, they had a redevelopment, okay, that was a health hazard, and it was like Sherman Hills is in Wilkes-Barre. It was torn down because it was so infested with crime, with the drugs being peddled into there, that the city had it deemed a health hazard. They condemned it, they demolished it, and it's not there no more. I could give you pictures.
No, okay, Mark.
So,
Thank you.
I mean, to say something can't be done is ludicrous.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? That's it. Comments from the mayor? Or Steve, you wanted to say something before about something?
Wait till the end.
You could.
You want to say something?
No, I'll wait till
You wait till the end of the meeting, or
Yeah.
after the mayor speaks?
whatever.
After the mayor
Okay.
leaves.
Go ahead. You can speak.
No, I only wanted to say to Councilman Shatter and Perry to thank them for their years of service. I know how difficult it is. Every one of you on council know that, or will know it, how difficult it is to serve the public and to do everything that they would like done. It's very, very difficult, but it takes a strong person. Anybody that takes that seat or runs for office is a strong person. And I'd just like to tell Councilman Shatter and Councilman Perry, thank you for what you've done for the city. I already did welcome David Sosar and Jeff Cassad, but I'd just like to say that I heard your comments, and you love the city, and so do I, and you want to see it go forward, and so do I. And I think the cooperation between the council works both ways, between council and administration. You can call us, we can call you. I think Steve has been very cooperative to all the council. You don't know that yet, but you will know it if you call him. He'll get what you want, providing we have it. Jackie knows that, and Jeannie knows that. So does Keith. Call him, and he'll get it for you. Cooperation, communications, they're the number one, and I hope you guys will do that. Thank you.
Steve, did you want to make a comment about?
Go ahead, and whenever you're finished.
Okay. Comments from council? Keith, you want to say something first?
I just want to thank Jim Perry and Kevin Shatter for everything they have done in their time on City Council, welcoming the new members of council, and hopefully the next at least 2 years with me, we can get along and stop this bickering, screaming, yelling, and having a three-ring circus every meeting. We'll see how that goes. I would also like to thank, again, Mary and Jim for coming to the meeting today, and just kind of restating why you wanted to do what you wanted to do. And thank everyone else for coming today and giving their opinions. Not everyone, agrees all the time. And that is something, that happens regularly. You can't get 5 of us to agree. How can you get everyone in the city to agree on something? There's a reason why people elect a council and a mayor, and that's to make the decisions that are in the best interest of the city. And hopefully that's what everyone on this council and in the administration does on a daily basis, is look at what's in the best interest for the city. And I wish everyone a Happy New Year, and thank you for coming.
Thank you. Jeff?
I guess everybody knows I'm a man of few words, but I will fight for what I think is right, and I will try to work with everybody that's here, and I will treat your money as it's mine, and watch for every penny. And that's all I could say, is I'm going to try to do my best with the budget and give us a realistic budget, and hopefully we can follow it and work together to maintain it. Thanks.
Thank you, Jeff. Dave?
I've said so much at the beginning, I'm going to keep this very, very short. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to the administration for being here today. I do look forward to working with you. I think that rather than have a contentious type of situation, I think we can find areas to work together. We do all love the city, and we do all want it to work. I would be remiss, and I apologize for not having said it earlier, for Mr. Perry and for Mr. Shatter. Sometimes we don't always agree, but the fact of the matter is that they gave their years of service too, and they deserve the accolades that they get as well. It's not easy to sit here. It's not easy to do this job, and I think that they should be congratulated. So in lateness, I want to say that. And I want to say thank you to everybody, and I hope that we can all work together to make this city the city that it can be. Thank you.
Thanks. Jean?
Well, I'd like to thank council for giving me the opportunity to be vice president of council. So I appreciate your vote and your belief that I'll be able to do this. I'd like to thank the public for attending this meeting. These things are important. I'd love to see this audience packed all the time. And it's beneficial. The more you know, the better off everybody is all around. We look for your input. We may not agree and we may disagree, but at least we know what the public is thinking and how the public feels about things. And that's very, very important to me. I look forward to serving with the new council members. I think they're all going to be beneficial to us. I look forward to fulfilling my next 2 years with Keith. And I, once again, would like to thank the mayor for coming tonight. It was nice to see you and being part of this procedure for the new people that were put in. So thank you very much for attending. And I would like to wish everybody a Happy New Year as well. We will be working our best to ensure that your money is spent properly. We will work with all our administration. We'll look forward to the new council advisor coming on board, working with all of us together. And whatever we do, believe me, from my heart, it's to benefit the people and the city. And that's where my thoughts and heart comes from, only to benefit the city and the people that are in it. So thank you so much again for attending.
Thank you, Jeannie. I'll be brief. I just want to thank Jim Perry and Kevin Shatter for their years of service. It's not easy to run for office. Some people say you're crazy to run for office. And I've been here, this is my 4th term, so I really must be crazy. But I want to thank John Sullivan at the Sewer Authority. He did a good job. He's getting replaced by a really competent person. I'm sure she'll do a good job, and she cares about the city and what goes on. John did a great job there. It's nothing personal on him. He served 2 terms. I mean, there's people saying there should be term limits in a lot of things. We have Booty Beltrami saying there should be term limits. But, you know, we make the decisions, and that's how it goes. And Dr. Sosar, who was on the water, he served 2 terms. 2 terms. He did a great job there. I know he cared about the Water Authority and did a great job there. But I know we're going to try and work together and do what's right for the city of Hazleton. The people voted for us, and they wanted a change in direction. We're going to try and not necessarily change everything, but we're going to try and do what's right for all the residents of Hazleton. And I know we're going to make mistakes, and we're going to have people disagree with us, and that's part of government. That's what makes our government great. And I just want to thank everyone for coming. Have a Happy New Year. And like I said, we're going to be open and transparent. We're going to have everything. I want to put everything on our website. We're going to be the most open and transparent government in Pennsylvania. Mark my words. If we have a contract, that's going to be on the internet. I want all the minutes of all the other authorities to be on. I want to get them up to speed too. I want their minutes and everything they do on their website. Thank you very much.
Mr. President.
I apologize. I completely forgot. I do want to thank Jim Perry and Kevin Shatter for serving, and as well as Mr. Sullivan. And it's like Jack said, I'm in concurrence with him. It's a difficult thing to be on council or any board. A lot of heavy decisions have to be made. Good, bad, or fighting, it doesn't matter. When all said and done, we're all people. And I'd like to thank them for the time that they gave us and gave the city.
Mr. President, Mr. President,
Go ahead.
I have a request, if I could. We've received more detailed or exacting numbers for insurance costs and some other things in the city, and the administration would like to be presenting an amended budget to council for consideration at your next meeting.
Okay.
I think some of the things, if I could request, the general fund budget is about 22 pages. There are multiple other funds. I don't know if there's any desire or intent to have any work sessions regarding the budget, but I would like to offer that there probably should be a session dealing with the revenue portion of things. The expenditures and the general fund may require.
Oh, do you want to have a
separate
work session before our next meeting? Could we do that and put that in the paper before the next meeting? A work session prior to our meeting?
Any time that you'd like to, or however you'd want to
Yeah.
work that, but
I know-
there are a lot of items in here. I do have information.
Would an hour be okay, like before our next meeting? Maybe we could, Lisa, you could schedule a work session, or do we have to do that if there's a meeting? We have to
Right
schedule a
before.
work session
Yeah,
and
we
meeting?
still have to schedule. Yeah, I have to.
Okay, before, our next meeting is when?
An hour before?
Is when?
14th.
14th.
That's when?
That's
Tuesday.
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 And,
Well,
and our meeting's at 7 o'clock.
and we could have a work session at 6?
If that's fine.
Okay, that's good. Are you okay with that? Is Jeff? is
Yeah,
that-
that's good. Do you have a copy of what you want to give us at this time? So we could.
I'll get you something definitely
Email-
before
could
the
you email it
deadline.
to us?
But by Wednesday, there's comments about what each line item I'll have to by Wednesday.
We do want that, Steve. I
And
think you should work on it. We looked at a budget from Lancaster that was terrific.
Right.
It was well done, and that's what we want to, we want
Forward
to,
that,
we want to copy that.
Okay. And the parking.
And that's, you know why we do that? It's less, some people have to come back and say, what's this? What's that? Why'd you do that? You put down a comment after every budget line item in a separate or even with it, and just say what you're doing, why you're doing it. If it's increased, why you're increased. If it's decreased, if it's something different or way different than last year, why is the difference? Then it runs smoothly. Our budget will run smoothly.
And I
Okay?
have the information on the parking authority is copied, and everybody can pick up a copy of that. I emailed some of the things to you folks already.
Okay,
That's
okay.
another part of it.
Is that it?
Sounds good, thank you.
Make a motion. Does anybody make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I didn't get to do this. Adjourned.
I'm glad you look it up. Do me a favor.
You can speak with me however long you want. Hey, go ahead.
Good, how's it going?
All right. Today's a good day, great day.
I'll speak to the press.
It will be the start of my 4th term. Coming in as a president, I was in president since my first term. I was president. 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 I was president.